Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It is Monday, the 10th. Is the year not running by? It is. It is running. It is running by. And this morning, I tell you, I had a little experience with what we're going to talk about today, which is sleep. Sleep. Our sleep, for many of us, gets interrupted for whatever the reason. We don't even know all the reasons. I don't know. I'm going to be asking you that. So I hope you have a pen and paper to talk about some of the things that sleep can and will do to us if we're not getting enough of it. And I want to start off with some statistics. And I thought this was interesting to me because, I'm a nosy bird. So birds want to know a little something they can fly away with. So here, I got some stuff for you right here and put on my glasses. And it says in 2015, we're going to get to 2020 in a minute, but in 2015, it says 41 billion people were putting money into sleep aids in 2015. In 2020, now y'all need to get this, it's now $52 billion. 2020, that's what is expected for this year. And I'm quite sure with the pandemic, I'm quite sure with people dealing with stress around, limited money, limited access to just their going and coming and doing what they want to do, and wearing masks, not wearing masks, being social distancing, not realizing, what it doesn't mean. All of those things play into the whole idea of not being able to sleep. That gives great pause to me. Every once in a while, I'll get it. I will get it where I've overdone it. Good morning, Joan. I've just overdone it, and I can't quite sleep at night. And so it ends up that, my sleep is interrupted. But here's what it goes on further to say. It says, why sleep eludes so many. And it says, sleep experts today aren't as prescriptive, meaning they don't write as many prescriptions as they used to on sleep, because there's a lot of over-counter remedies. There's gurus, there's some of everything and out there for people to try. And so the business has been booming, just like weight loss. It's just like weight loss. If you got an issue, there's somebody that's going to answer what that issue is. And it says, as prescriptive as they once were, these doctors are about how much shut-eye humans require each night. So they're concerned, but they don't write prescription for it anymore. And it says you need as much sleep as it takes for you to stay awake and be alert during the course of a day without caffeine, says Nathaniel Watson, MD, co-director of the University of Washington Sleep Center in Seattle and president of the American Academy of Sleep Medicine, which last summer issued now sleep guidelines. It's also okay if you wake up, get this, in the middle of the night, as long as you can eventually fall back to sleep. So to me, that says a lot about it. Good morning, sunshine. That says a lot about what Dr. Watson is telling us, is that, okay, so you wake up, find something that allows you to go back to sleep. But sometimes it says maybe you can get up and get something that, calms you, whatever that is. Maybe a glass of milk. I always thought that was gross when people would suggest it. So that was never my, thing of choice. But it could be that you, just, end up just reading a book. Sometimes reading puts me to sleep, especially if my body is tired, but finding something, but they said if you're going to actively work on something, that may actually wake you up. Meaning if you're going to get up and work on a project, on a book, on a song, whatever it is that you might be doing, that may make you too alert. So anyway, I had to find a poem about about sleep, and this poem was written by William Wordsworth, and William Wordsworth I think he was born in the 1700s, so meaning it is years and years and years old. But before I even ask you that, before I tell you this, I'm going to ask you, are you stuck? Periodically, we do get stuck. Yes, we do. And sleep may be part of the problem. It may be interfering with what we are to do, what we are supposed to be doing to get enough sleep and be able to get through our day. But sometimes our days run into nights, and our nights run into our days, meaning we get turned around, So we want to sleep during the day and be up at night, And they said a lot of people who are what they call night shift people. I mean, at one time they had long periods of time where they were absolutely dedicated to working, that swing shift. Their bodies remain with that same rhythm of sleep. That's their new sleep pattern, and it remains with them, which becomes a regular sleep pattern and the only sleep pattern that they're good with. Good morning, Jamisha, Delirium, everybody that's coming in. Good morning, good morning, good morning, Jean. So sleeping is really important. Not all of us get it as we should, or we don't know how to recycle and try to stay with something long enough that makes us sleepy to go back to sleep. But anyway, this is by William Wordsworth, and it says, to sleep. It says, fond words have oft been spoken to thee, sleep. And thou hast had thy store of tenderness, names, the very sweetest, fancy coals or frames. When thankfulness of heart is strong and deep, dear bosom child, we call thee, that dost sleep. In rich reward all suffering, balm that tames all anguish, saint that evil thoughts and aims taketh away, and into souls dost sleep. Like to breeze from heaven, shall I alone? I surely not a man ungently made, call thou worst tyrant by which flesh is crossed. Perverse, self-willed to own and to disown, mere slave of them who never for thee prayed, still last to come where thou art wanted most. Now, I found this poem to be interesting only because it took us away from the typical language we're used to, but they're just talking about sleep. It's saying that you can have, names, you can have things in your mind, frames, you can be dreaming stuff, and then wake up and be startled awake, and all of a sudden, you can't rest. There's no rest to it. So this really talks about how sleeping may be important, but for some, it may be intense, it may be scary, because if you're really, really sleeping, you're going to go down into REM. And REM is where all the dream section begins. And I remember one time, this is true, when I was studying for my master's degree, and I was going, good morning, Liz, good morning, everybody that came in. I was studying for my master comprehensives. Actually, it was my EDS, which was above the master's. And I remember, crazy as it was, I went to the University at Albany in New York, and it's a big, huge university. And I remember waking up in my dream, not physically awake. In my dream, I was dreaming. I was having this experience that I retained where, there was my brother and everybody, and we were playing in the courtyard. In the middle of the courtyard was this fountain, and you could, if you ever go to the University at Albany, they have fountains. They may not now with all the money for everything and students not coming. But anyway, they had all these fountains. My brother and I were playing in these fountains, and everybody that I saw had on a scary face. And I remember being startled awake, and I'm thinking, why would I ever have such a dream? Well, that was first of all, the people that were coming to me were people that I knew from my program, and all of us were struggling trying to get through the comprehensives. So that's what it was all about. I don't know why my brother was there. I don't know if he was there as support or whatever, but he was out there playing in the water with me. How do I ever remember that? Don't know. But it just lets you know that for some people, going to sleep can be frightening, or it can be exciting, and can be desired, can be not desired, and some people may not even be able to get down there. Good morning, Cassandra. They can't even get to that level. They can't even get to it. So to have this what I would call this daunting problem of sleep may be problemsome either way. Problemsome if you don't get enough sleep, or problems if you go down into REM and you get a scary sleep, which is what this poem was kind of addressing. Like, no matter what, it could be rich, it could be tender, it could be scary, it could be some of everything. But the point is to get, good morning, T. The point is to get is, it says to really be able, doctors say, in order to be able to function during the course of a day, to do your work and everything, you need to get your sleep. And it may be for somebody 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, and they can still function. Where other people, it takes them a good 8 to 10 hours. Now, I can tell you what it says is that 8 hours would be your minimum. And rarely do I get 8. I'm more like between 6 and 7 hours. If I'm 8 hours, I'm probably, just a little under the weather. I'm a little under the weather. But anyway, are you stuck? Periodically, we get stuck on not being able to get enough sleep. Plain and simple. But anyway, let's talk about sleep. Sleep, it says, it's the natural, reoccurring thing that we do that helps our minds and our bodies. It's characterized by an altered consciousness, relatively inhibited sensory activity, which is reduced. So basically, it's when the mind takes over under another, good morning, Lori, takes under another form of dealing with whatever you're dealing with. Sometimes they say what you're dealing with during the day. In REM, you may be recovering that. You may be dealing with that. You may be struggling with that. Or you may be excited about that, whatever that was. It could have been a romantic flair. It could have been something, okay? And sometimes it's what you eat. You eat something before you go to bed. You may have a nightmare, okay? But it talks about, obviously sleep being your rest, your drowsy, your doze, your nap. It basically puts you in a position where your body is prone. Some people may sleep in chairs or beds or couches or whatever, but it puts you in a state where your body is relaxed. It's in a relaxed state, and hopefully you're getting the best sleep you can. Some people find trouble to get down into REM where others do not. Some people, you can hear it by the snoring that they're already gone. You can be talking to them, and 2 seconds they were talking to you, and the next second they're asleep. They just go on down. So when we break the word down, we start with the S. And I was kind of torn because I thought S had 2 words. First thing is slumber. And to slumber, it's a deep sleep. And many of us can get it. Many of us cannot. Many of us can't remember. And I remember taking a sleep and dreams course in graduate school. And the sleep and dreams course said that once you wake up, the less you move, because your mind has to tell your legs to move, your hands to move, and your eyes and all that. But they said the less you move and you concentrate, sometimes the more you can retain to memory as to what the dream was about. Sometimes the best dreams are the way you might be formulating a new idea. You wake up with it. You wake up with it. And that meant that your dreams really, the sleep really allowed you to formulate something and come up with something that ended up being good for you. So to slumber, obviously, is to take a doze, is to rest, cat nap, drowse, snooze. It says to get your Z's on, catch some Z's. And it says basically it is to allow you to rest, to rise. Rest to rise. You rest, your mind goes through things, and then you rise up with something new if you were able to retain some of what you remembered from your rest. Now, the other thing for the S I came up with was stagnation. I said, well, when I'm resting, I don't, you're not doing anything. You're in your conscious, you're in your consciousness memory. You're not in the memory of, up consciousness. You're in your sleep consciousness. So it says it's a state of inactivity, meaning your body is down. It says there's sluggishness to it. There's a calm to it. It could be a what they call a torpor, where you're just down. You're just underneath the radar. You're underneath the radar, but you might be still working down there. Because a lot of times they say that's the best work to be done. when it's under radar. You're just in a position of proneness, you know. Gee, naps make me grouchy, and I have to take a shower to wake up after that. You have to be a true napper to get rest from a nap. I don't know. I'm kind of with you, Jean, on that. But sometimes when I'm studying or I have a big project to do, if I get a power nap in, and that means I'm not going all the way down the rim. Power nap means I'm going to set my little clock for 15 minutes, take a little 15-minute shut eye, get a little quick nap in, and I wake up and I can be refreshed after I, wash my face and, get myself together. But sometimes I can do that. Sometimes I'm just so tired, I can just take one without, especially after I eat a meal. Come on, y'all, be true. If you can eat a meal, and it's a heavy meal, and you not go to sleep, write it in there. I want to know who you are. The L of sleep is lethargy. That's having the lack of energy and enthusiasm. When you're sleeping, you don't have any energy and you don't have any enthusiasm about working on anything because you are prone to whatever's going on in your sleep and in your mind. That's it. It says it's a period of inertia, inactivity, inaction, slowness, dullness, stagnation, languor, laziness. Now, some people may be lazy, I don't know. Passivity, fatigue, sleepiness, drowsiness. Let's see. I can't even read my handwriting. Oh, and it says hebetude. I don't know what hebetude is. But anyway, that means you're just under. Okay? You are under, this period of relaxation. Not much is going on, but your mind is still working. The mind never stops doing something. Even though you can't retain it, it says the mind continues. And they said the best way to store information. In fact, I saw this fact Saturday on news, Teen Kids News. It was wonderful. It said that the brain can store up to 20, I think it says almost up to 20 billion books. 20 billion. That's a lot of books. Okay, that's a lot. Billions and billions of books. That means we can remember the details and the titles and the authors and, what went on from the beginning, the middle to the end. That, to me, says the brain is a computer. We talked about the mind, last week. And think about what the brain can do. Awesome. Awesome. The brain is just, it's a great machine. It's a great machine. So, and it says in order for the brain to work right, and this is according to Dr. Amen, it says that you have to get the sleep in. It says you have to also eat protein. You have to eat protein in the morning to keep the brain, because the brain has to be fed. And so, eggs and things that really, generate protein through the system, the brain takes all of that in. So it is a necessary thing. The first E of sleep is energy. When I think about when I'm too tired to do anything, in order for me to rev back up, I have to go down. That's all of us. We have to get the rest in, and I interrupted a friend of mine's rest on Saturday. And she let me know, and that was perfectly fine because I understood. I'd already had my rest, but her rest was interrupted. So sometimes you don't even realize that other people's schedules don't meet yours at that time. And that's okay. That's okay. You just apologize and move on. But anyway, in terms of energy, it says energy is the strength and vitality required for sustaining physical or mental activity. Mental activity. So therefore, it is the power. Your brain is considered, this front part of your brain is called the frontal lobe. It's called the executive, This is the executive division of your brain. That's where everything happens. That's where you do all of your, what I call your detailed work, your fine work, putting together things and taking them apart and reassembling them, or ordering, putting things in order, prioritizing. All of that begins and ends in the executive branch of the brain. It says it's your life, it's your livelihood, and it's your animation. So to have energy, you have to get it from your sleep. You have to let the sleep allow you to go down long enough, in whatever portion of REM or above you're getting to rev you back up to an energy level where you can do anything you want to do during the course of your day or night, depending on what type of hours you have for working. The second E for sleep is exuberance. And it says exuberance is the quality of being full of energy and excitement, cheerfulness. Okay, cheerfulness. I like that. I like the fact that if I get enough sleep, I won't be grouchy. I won't be upset with people. I won't be upset with myself. Because sometimes when we don't get enough rest, we get upset. We get, short of temper. We just do a whole bunch of things. And it says we end up being, having this thing when we're exuberant. We want to have our cheerfulness. We want to have our exhilaration and our excitement, our elation, our joy, our effervescence, our bubble, and our bounce, and our zing. All of those things talk about what sleep does for us. When we get enough sleep, we're able to come up with being creative, come up with putting things together, come up with knowing, left, right, up, down. I had a girlfriend once in college, and she's a doctor now. But we already knew that she was a doctor because she exhibited this thing where she would get her sleep, and she got her sleep. She did. She was a doctor long before the title came to her, an MD. And if we saw her out, she may have on one shoe and one sneaker. That wasn't her focus. Her focus was to get her rest and to get her studies. Okay? Get her rest, which was her sleep, and to get her studies. And I tell you, I learned something from her. I learned it. I learned to know that she had the formula. Okay? It took me a year and a half to get the formula right. It took me a year and a half in college. I didn't know. I wasn't sure about writing a paper, and I didn't know how to really speak academically and understand academically what was required of me. I came from an area where, my parents had 8th grade educations. They were brilliant people. Good morning, Demir. They were brilliant people. They were, but it wasn't because they had gone to school. Their schools, when they were coming up, was only required in the South to be 8th grade, and then they had to get a job. They had to get a job, and they did. They did those kind of things. In fact, my mom was married at 16. So you understand, it's the times, the time period that comes along to us, and what do we do with our time as we understand it. It's always going to be different. The P of sleep is for power. In order for you to have power, you got to get your sleep. Absolutely, you have to get to sleep. It says powers is the ability to do something or act in a particular way, especially as something that requires quality, and it requires forethought, and requires, commitment of something, meaning your name is on the line for you to do certain things. And if you haven't gotten enough sleep, you may be making some serious, false judgments about things, or wrong judgments, especially when I think of people that, like the what I call the dangerous areas to work in. Not dangerous in terms of them, but dangerous on their calls, such as, the people that do all the flight, people coming in on the various, pulling the planes in. To me, that would be difficult, because if I don't get enough sleep, that would be troublesome, especially if I didn't hear a plane. What do they call them? Flight? I don't even know. Write it in there if you know. I forgot what they were called. But anyway, those folks, serious, that would be so serious. Good morning, Kathleen. So I would be concerned about having a job that I'm not on my P's and Q's. Even a dispatcher for anything. A dispatcher for ambulance, for police, all those kinds of things. They have to get their rest. Have to. Same thing with firefighters, nurses, doctors. Everybody, those positions have to be, and I sometimes, when I worked in the hospital, which I did for 4 years, some of the doctors were burnt out. They would just say, man, we had an emergency last night and 4 people came in, all of them, were critical, so forth and so on, and we had to do some services here and then get them off to other hospitals. You just understand that some what I call occupations just require you to go down long enough in your sleep to be able to make sound judgment. And doctors, I believe, are very much being tested right now with this COVID-19. I believe that there is serious concern about how much rest they're getting and how many people are even, able to give them relief, because the demand is high and the personnel sometimes have been already affected by the disease themselves, or they're just limited number in terms of trying to spread around the number of people that can help. And so that would be a concern. So Power really talks about that, and the ability to have sound judgment and do quality, what they call quality work. So it really talks about one's capacity, one's capability, one's potential, one's competence, and one's competency. So all of that leads to our sleep. Everything leads back. Are we getting enough sleep to be able to make sound judgment, to be able to do what we need to do, to say that we're taking care of our business, or the business that's been given to us? Because sometimes we have business and we can probably, delegate it to someone else to a certain point. But if you're the leader, a lot of times people don't realize that the information and the ownership still falls back to the top. And I said falls back to the top, meaning you gave it away, but it still comes back to you. So we just never know. So to sleep is important. If you're getting enough sleep, write it in there. Write it in there. I want to know. Some people don't get enough sleep. It's just that they feel they're okay. They feel that they can work on 2 hours, and 2 hours is fine. Not for Sandy. I need a little bit more than that. I've worked on 4 hours. When I was finishing up the book, I remember going down for 4 hours and then getting right back up and working all day. What happened is that I never realized what, I knew it when I was doing my doctorate, because I did have to format my book, my dissertation, but to address that again, to come back to that again, and it's just in a different format. This happened to be a kid's book with a lot of pictures, so that just tested me. It tested my ability. And I got to tell you, privately I cussed, okay? Publicly, I'm not big on it, but privately I said, what the? But eventually it all worked out. It all worked out. And sometimes you have to turn away from stuff, get some rest, turn on the TV, let your mind just go anywhere, sleep a little bit, and then you'll have a fresher look when you come back to address it again. And I had done that many times before I actually finished the book. But anyway, here's some questions for you in terms of your sleep. Question number 1, are you getting enough sleep? Are you? T, sleep helps me to rejuvenate. Me too, T, it really does. So are you getting enough sleep? And if not, what's keeping you up? What is keeping you up? Are you worried about things out of your control? Or are you worrying about things that are within your purview to do, but you're having trouble doing them? You don't know how to do them. You need help, whatever. Because I imagine, that having to work on projects and you're at home, and normally you would have, people right there to help you work out stuff. I can see that being a problem. Zooming doesn't help with everything. It doesn't calm what I call the will of what you get and the kindness you get from people that normally assist you or you assist them, because that camaraderie sometimes just helps you take the pill a little trouble to, wow, it's done. You know, it just happens like that. Question 2, that was A and B. Are you getting enough sleep, and what's keeping you up? That was question 1 for A and B. Question number 2, do you want to sleep or slumber when it's important for you to be awake? Do you find that sometimes you are, maybe the lecture is too boring, maybe it's too long, maybe you don't like the subject matter, you know, to the point where you could have done it differently or broken it down differently. Sometimes those things happen, you know. Number 3, are you lethargic during the day? Do you have a tendency to, you know, be lethargic, and even combine that with number 4, which is energy level? Does your energy drop, you know, during the day, or are you lethargic? You know, you just feel like you want to sleep, feel like you don't want to, you know, do anything but get, you know, an hour nap in, you know. The next question, how exuberant are you during the course of a day? Good morning, Juanita. During the course of a day, are you exuberant? During your work and play day? Because sometimes, you know, I want to work, but I feel better if I was playing. Plain and simple, you know. It's like the work requires me to do things that have been assigned to me, whereas my play is unassigned. I'm just going to do it the way I want to do it. I'm going to have a good day. I'm going to have fun, you know. So do you find exuberance in your work day, you know? And sometimes getting that sleep does give you that level where you can get it done. You can knock it out faster if you're exuberant. The last question is, how much power do you have to work with after a night of little or no sleep? How much power? You can even use that, how much energy, you know, do you have after having a night with little or no sleep? You know, and let's face it, sometimes little or no sleep means little or no work the next day. Kind of goes hand in hand. You just don't feel like it. You don't feel up to it. You feel tired. You feel weak. You feel sleepy. You know, you feel sleepy. Those are the questions for today. And I tell you, you know, when you look at those statistics that I gave you earlier of, you know, 52 billion people needing something to help them sleep. And, you know, these are over-the-counter medicines now, no longer as much a prescription as it used to be. People just, you know, go and, you know, take, I don't know. I don't even know. I've never taken any sleep medicine, so I don't even know which kind they are. But they take them, you know, so they can get a fairly decent amount of hours in where their mind is at rest, you know, in their sleeping. I know one of the things they were talking about with remedies is that they now have this thing where gurus, where, you know, you can do the calm music. And I think it's called, you know, like where you can listen to the water dripping or the ocean coming in and out, or really light music. So they have a lot of different things. And I know if you have Sirius Radio, they have that now, where there's a nature scene, a nature station. There's a nature station, or there's a station of calm, you know, where you can just go to sleep to calm sounds, you know. I don't know if anybody likes listening to, you know, the I guess they were frogs, you know, where you hear the little frogs at night. I didn't particularly care about the frogs, you know, but sometimes just being quiet, nothing at all, I can go to sleep. And sometimes I want the TV on. So I vary, you know, it just depends. Sometimes accidentally I'll fall asleep and the TV will still be on, and I wake up and it's blaring because it's on a commercial. During the regular course of the show, I can't hear it. I can't hear the show. But if I go to sleep and wake up, then it's probably that the commercial woke me up. The commercial woke me up. But listen, I want you all to have a good day. I want you to get some sleep. Since I'm one that needs to get more sleep but can't take a nap. Okay. All right. So do you get in 8 hours? Does anybody get in 8 hours that's on the thread right now? Anybody? Yeah, the melatonin works. That's true too. Those nature sounds are wonderful. I do like them too, Joan. But does anybody get 8 hours? I've not seen anybody say they get 8 hours a night. And 8 hours a night is actually very good. Very, very good. It says I'm the melatonin to help me sleep after a late night. Okay, me. Oh, okay, Jean, you get 8 hours. Okay, all right, that's good. Now I had a friend that she could sleep 12 hours a day. I can't do that. I feel the world has moved on without me. You know, it on its axle. And you know, it take a long time for the world to move around for us to notice it. I says, I get 8 hours now that I changed jobs. Okay. T says, I read the Bible. It helps me sleep peacefully. Okay. Great. I just think that the more sleep you're able to get, it says the more productive you can be. Okay. Now, last night I got 6. I got 6 hours last night. Okay, me, I always 8 hours. Okay. Almost 8. And Kathleen gets 8 hours. Always 8 hours. Okay, I'm fortunate. You are fortunate. Some people can't get 8. They cannot do it at all. But anyway, just going to give you a little update before I leave. Just want you to know that the book is going well. In fact, we're going to have a live signing this week. Some books we sign, but if you want your name in it or something, you can come. And we have to enforce social distancing over at, it's a new place called the Gordon. It's the Gordon Community Center. It is next door to the Blue Dot restaurant on DeVillers. And the owner, Christine Kellogg, has just openly agreed with having us get that place for the signing. And it's a soft sign because, we can't do too much, running around and people in tight spaces. And so we're going to do a soft sign. And Reverend Powell from Truth to Youth will be there, along with some other dignitaries, local dignitaries. So we are very excited about that. And the sales, I'm telling you, I've already ordered my second shipment because all the ones I ordered are just about gone. I think I only have a few books left. And also the website has been getting, Amazon has been getting some good ratings. So I looked on the site and I saw that some people had written in and said it was a great book and great read for children and inspirational. So the Lord worked and gave us some bread. He fed us again. That was wonderful, and so I'm very happy about that. I want you all to have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. Get some sleep tonight so you can be productive tomorrow. I love you. I appreciate you. I hope to see you tomorrow, Monday through Friday on Facebook Live. Have a great day. Bye-bye.